Alright guys, just a quick video. I got another update to the Tesla, and this screen popped up showing the differences between chill, standard, and now what they're calling hurry, which I think before was called assertive. This is new. This is very cool because, mainly because of this, you can set the speed offset per profile. And I think that's great that you have control of the speed, and if you swap profiles, it'll change the speed to match. Normal speed, adjust with traffic, and then slower lanes with minimal lane changes on chill. So that's cool. I'm gonna back this down to, I don't know, 25% right now. I'll adjust that later. And this is considered 12.5.6.3, and that's interesting because the update I just got was 12.5.4.2. Includes vision-based attention monitoring, it's been there, and then highway, it's been there. Here we have the earlier and more natural lane change decisions. That looks like it's new in this version. Yeah, updated speed profiles, which I just saw on the screen and showed you. And the auto set speed has been updated to max speed. I think that's probably, sorry, apparently I was aiming up. That is probably just changing the name of the parameter, which is... All right, so my first video for 12.5.4.2, I just got rid of it because I upgraded to 12.5.6.3 very quickly, as I said in my part 1 of this video. So this is part 2. We are on full self-driving, again, version 12.5.6.3, and this is going to be more of just a longer form driving video to see how it reacts over a larger drive. Of course, we're also at night. My initial impressions so far are still a little mixed. I do feel like some of the highway lane changes are way better. But one thing I've noticed, and we'll see how it holds up, is that I feel like a lot of my short driving, just like to my kids' school and back, it doesn't judge when to get into a turning lane very well. It's a lot of times waiting to the last minute when there's not a break in traffic, and I find myself having to take over so I can navigate in the traffic so I don't have to go and make a big loop. So just some decision making on the lane changes. I know lane changes are part of this release. It says earlier and more natural lane changes. I assume that means on the highway. I don't know if I feel that. I think I might feel a slight regression for the non-highway driving, but I'll caveat that by saying we've got new driving profiles and a new seeming like control system for autopilot. So maybe this is just some growing pains. We'll see in this drive. Alright, on our way. Tell you one thing I've also noticed, just like right now, we're going 37 into 45. We could be going faster. The speed limit's 45, so that's actually 8 under the speed limit. I have noticed that it tends to want to go with the flow of traffic more than anything with this new version. So if people are going 10 under the speed limit, you might find yourself going 10 under the speed limit on non-highway driving because it's just keeping up with the flow of traffic, and I think it's prioritizing that over the speed limit. I don't think that's a bad thing, but it is different because if you're in a hurry, you're like, why am I going so slow? Now let's see, without that flow of traffic to slow me down, you see that we're already well above it, 41. So I don't know why we're not at 45, but yeah, still holding back. Not as much, but holding back. And maybe that's just because it knew the merge lane was coming up. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of different dynamics in this version, and I'm having to relearn FSD a little bit about its driving behaviors. They do feel substantially different. Looks like we've got an accident here with the lane blocked. I don't know what it's trying to do there. It actually wanted to go right. I don't know why. I canceled it by pressing right turn signal. I'm questioning why it decided to try and even do that change. That would have been very incorrect. Alright, back on the road. I gotta give it a ding for that. Emergency situation, you gotta do better. Alright, let's see how it takes this exit. Sometimes it wants to overshoot it, or it takes it too fast. Let's see what it does here. You know what, I would say that is much improved. So, quite a few versions back, it would almost like miss the exit because it was going too fast. It would try and turn at the last minute and it would abort. And then I think like with 12.5.4, it started to actually be able to make that exit, but it would still take it too fast. This version, 12.5.6.3, that's the first time I felt like it adequately prepared for that exit and took it at the appropriate speed. So that is definitely a point in the positive direction for FSD. That's a very pleasant change. Now, as a function of the standard driving profile, it looks like it has a preference to not be in that rightmost lane. I'm going to have to get back over there to exit, so it'll get back over. We'll see how far. Yeah, see, here it goes. You know, little things like that, it's like, why? It doesn't matter the driving profile. You're not going that far. There's no cars. Don't get over. There's still some of that decision making that's just a little odd. But it's not horrible, like it doesn't cause problems. You just wonder, like, why did you do that? Alright, let's see how well it slows down for this. Better. I would say it's better. You know, FSD all along has kind of taken exits at slightly quicker speed than you probably otherwise would. That's still a little fast right there for a moment, but I feel like overall it's improving. I feel like it's slowing down more before it takes the exit, and I don't feel as much like I'm about to fly into the shoulder. All right, I would say so far so good. Says navigation is complete. We'll see how far it can go. I'm not expecting it to do well. It always has trouble with this. Some weird. Wow, that's the best it's ever done that. Normally it hesitates and the wheel's jerky and it doesn't know what to do. This will be a true test. Let's see if I have to take over here. See what it does. It sees the cones. Woo! So close to that cone. But you know what? I'm actually impressed with that maneuver right there. That was fantastic, and it didn't even slow down that much. Like, it handled it with confidence. Very impressive. All right, sorry. My wife called me. But to finish up, I'd say overall, I'm impressed with a lot of the driving improvements. Still a couple issues with it, some new issues. Again, maybe it's just me getting used to this version. It seems it's not quite the jump from 12.3 to 12.5, which was a very, very big moment, but it almost feels half that. Like, this really feels different in a way that I think I'm going to have to get used to. And the last thing I want to see is that when you can change your speed profiles, the max speed per profile, it does these jumps in 5% increments. I don't like that. Before, you could do any percent. And also, there's a place down here where it used to be. You used to be able to say the offset was a set mile per hour or a set percentage, and you could adjust the percentage by 1% increments. Now, all you get down here is the mile per hour. And the driving profiles have the percent, and the percent is now downgraded to increments of 5%. Instead of 1%, which I don't really like. I would actually prefer to have a little bit more control, because if I want chill, then I would have to do like 10, standard 15. But look at that. It's even keeping the same one for each. I thought for sure that would be different per profile. Matter of fact, in my first video, I probably said that. But it looks like that does not change between profiles. and that the it even says, hurry says drive faster, right? Standard says drives normal speed. Chill says drives in slower lanes. So I guess the offset doesn't change, but its tendency to go with the flow of traffic or exceed that might change. I don't know. This seems a little bit more confusing than the previous version. So it's a step in the right direction for having relative controls per profile, but it's also a step backward because it seems a little bit more confusing. All right, guys, I don't know if that light helps or not. Let me turn it back off. All right, final point of note. I just figured out why the driving profile goes away. I know it's not on, but it's not a bug. It's a feature. So it says your driving profile when you're on the highway. When you get off the highway, that turns off, which also leads me to believe that very likely these driving profiles either only apply on the highway or that it only gives you access to the quick toggle when you're on the highway. When you're driving off the highway, I'm actually not sure right now if these do anything, or if maybe it now uses the speed limit down here. I'll keep testing that and maybe post an addendum to this video, but I did want to call that out, that I figured out what it was. It's not a delay. The only delay in that turning on was the time it took for me to get off the side streets and get onto the highway.